My name is Marin Vayu, and if you watched already some of my videos on social media, then you know already that I am here on this planet to bring back some lost wisdom of the 5 elements, and also to share, to teach, to guide people to become master of their life using this ancient wisdom of nature. So I will tell you a little bit about what I'm going to talk today in this, because this is the first masterclass session, and I will have more, and always there will be some topic, and then of course you can ask question, and then I can talk about specific topic. But this is the first masterclass session, and this one it will be important because I need to say something like that. It's that I don't need to repeat every time. And this masterclass is free, of course, but if you are willing, if you will be grateful for this wisdom or for some informations that I give you, and you want to make some donation, please be free to do it. It will be very nice thing, and the link of the place where you can make these donations are below this video. And all what I will talk about today, actually all those things, maybe some projects and some other things that I have, you can always find below in this video. And because this video will be recorded, so some things about some things I will talk about that I will do it in the future. But I don't know when you are watching this video. Maybe you are watching a recorded version. So some things that I'm saying that we're going to be in the future, maybe they are already done. Maybe they're already manifested. So you just check below the video in the comment section and in the description section, and you will find all the information and all the links about the things that I will talk about. So let me first tell you what I will talk about today. Of course, I will do some introduction, and then I will talk about a little bit my story, my spiritual journey that is related to the 5 elements, and some of my projects and programs that I already have and that I will have. And then I will talk about the introduction of the 5 elements, what is this theory of the 5 elements and this concept, this spiritual philosophical concept, where we can find it, and what are the origins of this concept. And then I will talk about balance, how to use this wisdom to balance yourself. And I will talk about mastering your life using this wisdom, because every element has certain wisdom, like many. All the wisdom of this world you can categorize into these 5 elements, because everything you can categorize in these 5 elements. So the same as with wisdom, but we can extract from each element like one of the most important wisdom, and I will talk about this in the end, and how you can use it to improve the quality of your life, to become a master of your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. So, you ready? First, I will say a little bit about life and this world. When I came to India, I immediately met one philosophy. They told me that this world in which we're living, it's an illusion. And I was thinking about this, and I think I understood what that means. But one day I really experienced it. I saw this illusion with my own eyes. And since then, my life transformed, changed. This was not the only spiritual experience that I had. It happened actually 5 of them in the just few days in India. And this all transformed my life. And from that moment, I'm really walking on this spiritual path, trying to use this wisdom to improve myself. And one of the things that I can say about this concept that the whole world is an illusion, because this is very hard to describe. But today I use usually this terminology of modern technology that we are very familiar, and I can say that this is very similar to say that this world is like an AI simulation, something like that. So it's not very far from what I experienced. It's a simulation. And we know how algorithm of AI works. So you have your mobile phone and you have your social media, and then you receive certain informations through this social media, and you meet certain people, and you actually live a certain life through this social media. But the algorithm works, and you know this probably, that what you watch, what you like, is the algorithm will give you more of these things that you like. You don't even need to press like. You just need to watch the video until the end, and the algorithm already think that you really like this, especially if you like, or if you comment, or if you do some action on this video. The algorithm will think, aha, this person, you like those things, so I will give you more of those things, because the algorithm wants that you stay on this platform, right? So it will give you all the interesting things. And in the very similar way, our life is working. So if you like something, or let's say if you believe in something, this world will give you those kind of informations and experience, because the world outside, it's a mirror, it's a projection of the world inside. And this is exactly the opposite that we usually think that it is. So the things that is happening outside is triggering our own world inside. So if somebody smiles to you, you feel happy. If somebody is angry on you, you feel not happy. If something beautiful happened, you will react in one way. If something bad to you happened, you will react in another way. And not just feeling, but also your thoughts. You will create certain kind of thoughts according to what is happening. And you will create also actions according to that. So basically, we are reacting to the environment. And the mystics were saying for thousands of years that actually it's the opposite. It's not just the opposite, but it's starting from inside. So how we react inside, how we are producing these thoughts, words, feelings, and actions, we are shaping the world outside. Because we can really produce our thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. They don't need to be our reactions always. For example, you can intentionally produce a thought about elephant right now. Yeah, or you can choose whatever. You can also produce any kind of word. You can say love. Yeah. You can produce feelings. But here we have a little problem. For most people, they are not even sure if they can produce feelings, because many reasons. Because first of all, nobody told us this, and second, we didn't train this. We train ourselves to think and to talk, but we never train ourselves to feel. And that is one of the biggest mistakes that we did in our let's say learning process of this life. And the same is with deeds, with what we do. We can easily move our arm. But most of our thoughts, words, feelings, and actions are actually programs. They are just reactions on the environment. So most of your thoughts are running just because the reaction, not with intention. Most of your words, when you start to pay attention of your words, more you start to pay attention, more you will realize that you actually don't control your words, that they are just coming. You don't even know from where. And most of them coming from programs. On average, more than 90%. And the same is with feelings. With feelings, we agree. Everybody will agree. Yes, feelings, programs, they are reactions. But also with deeds, also with physical movements. Like right now, observe your body. Where are your legs or your arms? Did you put them intentionally, or they are just programs? Maybe you're driving a car, another example, and you can think about completely something else. If you know the road, especially, you will do everything like on automatic, like you are driving on autopilot. But not only the car is autopilot, but it's also your movements are autopilot, your thoughts. We can use an example of a pilot who is like guiding an airplane. This pilot, it's a very, very skilled pilot. He was trained to pilot this, to control this airplane. But still, most of the time, he put autopilot. Why? Because those programs are very good. And this airplane will go very, very smoothly with this autopilot mode. So the same should be in our case. We have programs, and we should have good programs. We should have programs that are running our life very smoothly, that are beneficial to us, not the programs that creating us problems, and many do. And we also should have a power or awareness to switch off this autopilot mode whenever we want. So like the pilot in an airplane, if see that he needs to do some correction, like he switch off autopilot and he pilot manually. So we should be able to do that. But unfortunately, there are some programs that are preventing us to do that, to switch off the autopilot mode. And those programs are problematic programs. I call them like this. And those programs we should delete. I call them bugs and viruses because today we know this terminology. So there are many bugs and viruses and cache and trash and cookies that we need to delete. And how we do that? There are many ways, there are many techniques to do that. One of the most famous, the best, let's say, the best antivirus program, perhaps it's a meditation. So just to put an intention to clean your mind, the meditation will do the rest, because we have inside our programs, we have also one program that is working to delete those cache, trash, cookies, bugs, viruses. We can call it antivirus program, but we need to activate it. Even on the computer and on your phone, you need to activate it. It doesn't run by default automatically. So we need to activate. How are we going to activate these antivirus programs? There are two things. First, the intention. This is already an activation. And the second requirement is a silence. We need to give space to this program. We need to give time to this program to run. And this is silence. This is why I'm saying that meditation is one of the best techniques to clean your programs, because not all the meditation, but the meditation when in this case I'm talking about the state of mind without thoughts. And this is not so easy to reach, but with practice we can reach this silence. And more this silence is, like longer this silence is, better this program can run to clean your mind from those trash. And longer the silence is, it can go even deeper. This program can go deeper, on a deeper level, and clean some really hidden programs, bugs. There are some programs, bugs that are just activating other programs. Yeah? I give you an example. A program of fear. A program of fear, it's a default program. It's a good program because maybe it can save your life. But the problem is that we really, really rare need this program. But there are so many bugs that are activating this program, and this is really unnecessary. And actually, it's preventing us to live our full potential. This is just one example. There are so many. So what we need to do is clean our mind from those programs and from those viruses, bugs. And we need to reprogram the programs that we have. We need to reprogram them. We need to create beautiful programs, useful programs, beneficial, well-being programs, so that we can even run on autopilot mode and we will be safe. Not just safe, but it's going to work for our best. So these two things we should do if we want to improve our life. Of course, there are some programs that are very, very powerful. I will talk about them. I don't know if I will talk today, but on some of those masterclass for sure. There are some programs that are so powerful, and some of them we need even a help of an expert to resolve them. We can call them traumatic programs, because they are not just programs that we collect like an informations, but also in a combination with an experience. An experience can create a really strong programs, and some of them can become even traumatic if I'm talking about negative. I can talk about positive, and I can say that we have some programs that we like so much that we can become even obsessed about those programs. And this is also not good. I will give you examples later. So these two things is the fundamental thing if we want to run this life, let's say, on a full potential. And you don't know where is your full potential, but it is important to always improve. In my village, we say that there are two most important things in life: to improve yourself and to enjoy life. And both of these things, unfortunately, we need to learn how to do it. It is not something that we were born with those programs. Maybe with enjoyment more than improvement. But no, it's the same, because as a child, we actually wants to learn about this life, about the world. We are perceiving inputs all the time, and we improving ourselves. And the same is with enjoyment. We enjoy in life, but then in a certain point in life, we start to collect so many programs from society that are preventing us to improve ourselves and to enjoy more. Some of the programs we even bring to this life from our past lives. Or if you don't believe in the past lives, you can say from genetic code. Yeah, some programs are genetically written. And those programs we bring in this life. And some of those programs are very, very powerful. But believe me that in this life, the programs that you will collect since you are child and after in life can be much more powerful than those programs from the past. Actually, every program can be stronger than the program from the past. So if you develop a program 5 years ago, today you can develop a much stronger program. Or from yesterday as well. So this is important to realize because we often identify ourselves with, oh, I am like this, I cannot change, or I don't have these skills. Every skill that people have, they didn't receive those skills. Those skills were gained through practice, or in this life, or in the past lives, or genetic past lives. So this means that if you suddenly realize that, oh, you have some certain skills in this life, why is that so? Because you were working on that in the past, but now you encounter this program and this program gets activated. This is why some people are more skilled than some others. But this doesn't mean that you cannot become or that you cannot have those skills. You can, and you should, because you should have all the skills from all the 5 elements. The 5 elements, it's a default program that we have. All this universe is made on those 5 elements. And this is a default program. This is like a basic rules of the game that we play. Because remember, I told you that it's an illusion, it is in a simulation. We can also refer to as a game. Life is like a game. Game can be hard sometimes, but it's still just a game. And it will finish one day. And then we start another game. So in this life, this game, it's based on these 5 elements. These are the default programs. And each of those 5 elements has certain skills, has certain virtues. And we have those 5 elements, and we have the potential to have those skills, to have those virtues. So all we need to do is train. And more you train something, better you become in that things. So this was a little bit of introduction about not the 5 elements, about the life, what is this life, what is this world. Because often we are confused what we need to do in this life. There are so many games that you can develop in this life. Each one can develop completely different kind of games because you are the creator of your own world. This is an illusion in which you, with your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions, you are creating this illusion, you are manifesting this illusion, this simulation. But it requires training, and some things are limited because it's a game that you already manifested before. For example, when you play a game on the computer, I don't know if you play games, but for sure you know someone who plays games. So there are games in which you can do a lot of things, but you need to learn, you need to train, you need to have certain skills. But still, a game has a limitation. There are certain goals to achieve. There are many things in this game. But there are some default program of this game which you cannot change, and these are the default program of the 5 elements in life. And you need to learn those programs if you want to play with full potential. Otherwise, you can also play. I mean, you're playing it, but you are probably not playing with full potential. And by learning those programs of those 5 elements, you can do much more things. You can manifest much more things in this your reality. And when this game will be finished, then there will be another game. And I don't know which one. There are many theories. Maybe you will incarnate again in a similar game on this planet, maybe in some other dimension, maybe on some other planet. Maybe you will be a rock. Maybe you will merge with the whole universe, like when a drop of water comes to the ocean and become ocean. I don't know. But what I know for sure is that life doesn't end. It will never end. This universe, it's one living being. It's one life. And we can call it eternal life. In endless number of forms and games that this life is manifesting. So what is the purpose, you might ask, of this life, of this manifestation? The purpose of the eternal life is to experience. So no matter what you do, the purpose you cannot miss. Because whatever experience you have, it may be a beautiful experience, it may be a hard experience, but it is an experience and you cannot miss this. So don't worry about the purpose of life. Better you worry about the purpose of this game that you are playing, because you can create a purpose in this game that you are playing. You can create a purpose, an extra purpose, not just the experience, but an extra purpose. And sometimes people ask, but why do I create hard experience? Why? Because we like it. Because there is a fire inside us who likes hard things. Imagine you go hiking on the mountain. And you have an easy way and you have a hard way. Most of the people will choose easy way. But how many times? One day you will say, I want to try this hard way. But it's hard. It doesn't matter. I want to experience it. There is something that create a reason for that. And we can call this a program of fire element, because fire element likes challenge, likes that it's hard. It likes to achieve something, to complete something. So yeah, this life, it's an experience by itself, but you can create a lot of kind of games in this illusion. So think about which kind of game you want to create, which kind of life, with which people you want to be. It's your choice. Most of the time it's direct choice. And sometimes you don't have choice. I don't know, maybe you are in prison. I don't believe that you're watching this in prison, but let's say you're in prison or in hospital and you don't have a choice with who you be. But because And then you can ask, but how can I manifest now freedom, or how can I manifest to change my life now? Well, for every thought, word, feeling, and deed, it's a frequency, it's a vibration, and it's shaping this reality. But sometimes it can very quickly manifest something, and sometimes it takes time. It takes time. And what is time in this manifestation of this universe? Nothing. It doesn't even exist. So don't worry and try to enjoy as much possible. Try to produce happiness whenever you can. Train yourself to do that. And you will be better in that. And of course, there will be some moments that will be very hard in life. And there will be some moments that will be very easy in life. But between these two extreme experiences, there is a huge amount of neutral experience when you don't feel happy, you don't feel sad, you're neutral. So in this status quo, you can manifest your feelings. And if you can, it's easier to manifest them. You need to train as well. But once you start to manifest, when you start to really be the manifestator of those feelings, then which feelings you're gonna create? It's up to you. It's up to you. You can create unpleasant feelings if this is what you want. Actually, if you observe a sadness or even a suffering, if you go really, really deep, you will realize that there is a piece of enjoyment also in that, if it's not too long. They ask Lao Tse, you know Lao Tse, it's the Chinese, one of the biggest philosopher in China. They ask him, how come that you were, before he died, they asked him, how come you were happy always every day? And he said, every day I had a choice to be happy or not. And somehow I always choose to be happy. He said, somehow. He didn't say, of course I choose to be happy. He said, somehow it happened, I choose to be happy. So I hope that this was enough as an introduction to what you can really do in your life. And my message here is that you have the power to do really big things in your life. I don't know where is the limit, but I know from my experience that it's much farther than I thought. So now I want to share with you a little bit of my story, my spiritual experience. When I was at the age of 22, first time I heard a voice in my head. And this was my spiritual guide, my inner guide. It was a voice. And I start to talk with this voice, and I start to ask questions. This voice was answering to all my questions immediately. And I start to really live. I start to see world from another perspective. I didn't knew nothing about philosophy or spirituality before that. So it gave me some new perspective. It was my beginning of my spiritual path. Some years later, I went to India, and during one meditation, I experienced who am I. And that was a transformational experience because I become everything. Next day, I saw this illusion with my own eyes. So this was like my real transformational point in life. And then after that, I was traveling a lot and meeting so many people from different backgrounds, different knowledge, different philosophies. I've been to India so many times, spent time with gurus, in ashrams, with different teachers, yoga teachers, meditations. Also to Africa and Southeast Asia, I traveled a lot. But many years later, I went to Egypt, and after I visited the Great Pyramid, I started to receive some insights about two things: about the ancient civilizations, lost ancient civilizations, and about the five elements. So 80% of the wisdom that I have about the five elements, I downloaded in just few months. And of course, the other 20% was during years. I'm still learning. But I also started to be attracted to this ancient civilization, which I was not. I actually came to visit the Great Pyramid, I don't know even why. But I also started to receive, and this is like really, some people will find it unbelievable. Then through my insights, I started to receive some lost informations about the origins of those five elements and about the origins of many traditions like yoga or astrology and many things like that. And I will make a video about that. I'm making a short video on my social media, maybe you saw some, but soon I will make a longer video where I will explain everything about that. And this is just my insights. And of course, I'm aware that I don't know if this is true or not, but it is a theory, how those concepts were developed. Because if you learn about those knowledge, you will understand that from the beginning, there is not step-by-step explanations how those knowledge became this complex like they became. Traditional knowledge, like yoga. So what is missing is first few pages of those books to explain with very simple logic and beautiful understanding of nature and those five elements, and then everything is very much logically explainable. So I received those insights and I started to research. Maybe it's already written somewhere. So I spent 15 years to research all those topics from all the world. All this, and also the universe wanted me to learn more about it because I met so many people from different backgrounds and I learned so much from them. So eventually I start to talk about it, teach about it, write books. And I wrote this book, Original Five Elements, that you can find on Amazon, where I present this original concept of the five elements, the base of, I say, almost every tradition in this world. So, of course, I am aware that when you are searching for proof, when you are searching for let's say, evidence, you will find them in whatever you believe. You will find them. So I'm aware that I am creating my own reality as well. So this is why this part, that what I was receiving, of course I need to share. I need to share because I'm receiving, I need to share. But these are not important to me. What is important is the wisdom that I receive that helped me to balance myself, to improve my life, the wisdom of those 5 elements. And what I receive about this wisdom of the 5 elements, I found trace of this in every tradition when I read about the 5 elements. I found a piece of puzzle, like there are pieces of puzzle in every tradition. But I also receive a lot of things that I couldn't find in any books. So for me, this is important, that you resonate with this wisdom. Because if you resonate with it, it means that it's resonating with your reality. And then you can use it as a tool, you can use it as your wisdom, because it's not my wisdom, it's the wisdom of nature. It's the wisdom of this game. The basic rules of this game are 5 elements. So of course, interpretations are different and explanations, and I believe I have some unique interpretation and explanations of those knowledge of the 5 elements. And of course, some of those informations or wisdom will not be the same, will even be contradict to some of traditional knowledge. Why? Because, as I say, everybody has different explanation and interpretation, but I also believe that the original version was lost, so that's why in many traditions there are small mistakes. And I'm careful when I'm saying mistakes, because it took me many years to convince myself that it could be mistakes. Because if one says, not just mine is different from the others, but one culture from another culture is also different about those 5 elements. So who is right, this one or this one? So there must be a mistake. But in practice, there are no mistakes. It's just a theory. For some people, it might be important, for some people not. Like, for example, I don't know, like Chinese have 2 different elements. They have wood and metal. They don't have air and the 5th element, space or spirit. By the way, in some tradition, the 5th element is called space, ether, also in India, also in Greek philosophy. But in some tradition, like alchemy or shamanism, or shamanism or South America, it's called the 5th element is called the spirit, the great spirit. And I like to use this language more, because then I give life to this element. Space, it might be something like not alive. So, as I say, I start to research. The Chinese might have 2 different elements. The names are different, but in practice, it's working, because the qualities of these elements are the same. Let's say a little bit different, but the base is the same. Now I remember one very interesting thing. I had a friend. This will give you an idea how powerful this reality that you are creating it is. I give you one example. So I had a friend who was she was a masseur, a therapist, and sometimes, and she was very intuitive, and sometimes she used this language of that the right part of the body is representing the female and the left part is representing the male side. So according to that, she was doing her treatments. And then one day I told her that this is the Chinese version, that the Indian version is the opposite. And she was surprised because she liked more the Indian version. She liked Ayurveda. She was in Ayurveda, but somehow she thought that she learned this other part, probably through internet, through some different books. Then she got this other information. And then she said, no, but it's working in this way. So the Chinese must be right because it's working in practice. But I saw in her eyes that she's like confused because she really respects the Indian tradition. And then after 1 year, we talk about it, and she told me that she actually now changed her belief, and now she stick to the Indian version, and now the left part represents the female and the right represent the male. And I asked, but it's working? She said, yes, it's working. So you see how strong are the beliefs. I will tell you another example of this. So when I start to research this ancient knowledge of the 5 elements, I also start to research about the lost civilizations because I was really attracted to it. And later, through my research, I came to the conclusion that, I spent 15 years in researching this topic. I came to the conclusion that there is a big probability, I'm not claiming, but there is a big probability that there was a lost advanced civilization that influenced the whole world, because we can find all kind of things that doesn't fit into our knowledge of history of our civilization. For example, pyramids. Maybe you think that they are like a simple structure, but inside the pyramid there are these huge megalithic blocks, weight up to 70 tons. They are made from granite, one of the strongest material in nature, and how they were assembled together so precise, like a laser. And some of in other temples, some of those granite blocks were polished like glass, smooth and so precise. So it's really, really unbelievable. And this phenomena we can find all over the world, not just Egypt. You can find all over this phenomena, this similar technique of construction temples with megalithic stone blocks, with the technique that we don't know. We don't have these tools. We don't have this knowledge how to do that like they did. So this possibility of the lost advanced civilization, it's very, very appealing because it is not just a theory that came to someone's mind like this, but it was presented by one of the greatest philosophers in history. And that was Plato, a Greek philosopher. He presented the theory of Atlantis. And he said this Atlantis sank 9,000 years ago, and this is 12,000 years from now, approximately. He said 9,000, 9,500, something like that. So that is a huge amount of time before the first civilization, according to our history, which happened maybe 5,000 years ago, like what we estimate that they built a pyramid or Stonehenge like 5,000 years ago. But we cannot date those constructions. It's not possible. You can date you can date a stone that is millions of years old, but you cannot date when it is carved or put together. So there are some other how you say methods that we can come out with the theory when it was constructed, but those methods can be wrong. Actually, the conclusion can be wrong. And we thought that there was nothing before 5,000, 6,000 years ago. There was nothing. There was no civilization before. But guess what? Recently, when I say recent, maybe 50 years ago, archaeologists found a ruins of a civilization that was 12,000 years ago, exactly when Plato said that Atlantis existed. And this they found in Turkey, in the place called Göbekli Tepe. It has these megalithic pillars with a megalithic blocks and beautiful carving. So they are even more advanced, I say even more beautiful than Stonehenge. And they found so many, like 20, more than 20. They were buried under the sand for, I don't know, 10,000 years or something. And now they are excavating them. So the theory, but okay, another thing that I want to say about this. I know that many people are not interested into that, but I will come to the why I'm saying this, to the point. I also need to say that recently scientists start to talk, and there are some people who are really into it. They start to talk about and start to research about that 12,000 years ago, there was a huge catastrophic event happened all over the world, maybe caused by meteor. You know, when a meteor fall down and many fragments fall in a different part of the world, they can cause a lot of kind of tsunamis, wildfires, earthquakes, floods. So a huge catastrophic events all over the world. And this would explain why we don't have information, why we don't have memory of this civilization, why we don't have more trace. Only the megalithic buildings survives. But also, knowledge survived. Fragments of knowledge, the same like buildings, but still they survived. And perhaps one of those knowledge is the knowledge of the 5 elements of nature. Because the 5 elements of nature is in every, is a base of all ancient traditional knowledge of this world. It is the most famous philosophical topic in history of this world. If you go to China, you find, like, they talk about it, everybody knows. You ask any Chinese, they know about the 5 elements. It's the base of Feng Shui, it's the base of Tai Chi, acupuncture, so all the Chinese medicine, Yi Jing, any kind of traditional knowledge. But it's also the base of all the Indian knowledge, chakras, Ayurveda, the doshas, the koshas in yoga, which I will talk about, the Vastu, which is the same like Feng Shui in China. Those are all based on the concept of the 5 elements. Those are the most famous esoteric traditional teachings. Then from Middle East, from Egypt, we have alchemy. It's based on the 5 elements. Then we have astrology, perhaps from Egypt, perhaps from Babylonian, Sumerian culture, we don't know. Actually, what is interesting is that on this Göbekli Tepe place in Turkey, this 12,000 years old megalithic, there are some carvings on those stones, and actually now they start to speculate, just recently, that maybe they were some things representing a zodiac or some kind of astrology. So it could be one of the clue, let's say like this, that this knowledge is much older than we believed. So this is also based on the 5 elements. Some people say, oh, wait a minute, there are only 4. No, there are 5. I will talk about that on another video. So if we go more to the West, the ancient knowledge, it's all about the rituals. It's in Europe, we call it paganism, and shamanic traditions all over the world, Africa, America, Siberia, shamanic tradition in India and China. All the shamanic tradition base their rituals on the 5 elements. Sometimes only one element, sometimes all the 5 elements. And they talk about it. They talk about those elements. They place those elements in the space, south, east, northwest, this kind of things. And so all the knowledge of this world, the ancient knowledge, is based on this concept of the 5 elements. Even religions, because religions are also just a philosophy that is coming from this ancient traditional knowledge. Yeah, there are some very interesting things about that, but I will tell you this another time in another video. So during my research, I come out with all these informations, with all this, and of course, my conclusion was that there is a big possibility that this knowledge is coming from a lost civilization. And here I will say an advanced civilization. Why? Because even though the concept of the 5 elements, it's a very simple concept inspired by nature, and some people might even think, but this is like a very primitive concept, because there are these elements of nature who can create catastrophes, like water can create tsunamis and floods, like fire can create wildfires, earth can create earthquakes, wind can create strong winds, and the 5th element, which is all the elements inside, because it's the space, all the elements inside the space, can create storms, because there are all the elements in storms, sometimes even dust, and as a earth, rain, thunder, strong winds. So, and there is volcano, which is also a catastrophe from the 5th element, which is coming from. So the storm comes from above, the volcano from down, and when it's explode, it releases all the elements in the air, actually. So this sounds like a very primitive concept. Okay, these are the gods of nature, yeah, and people start to be afraid of them because they can create catastrophes. But this is not just the primitive, but it is also, it's not just the base, but it's also, from my perspective, what I learned so far, it's also the PhD of life and philosophy. Because once we start to implement those 5, once we start to discover those 5 elements in our thoughts, words, feelings, and deeds, we can really start to control them. We don't control the elements outside, but we can control the element inside. And this create all kind of magic when you do that. Especially if one element is super strong and one is weak. When you manage to balance this is already a big thing. And then of course you can improve, because balance is the basic, balance is the first thing. And then you can improve. Like balance is like walking. You learn to walk, a child learns to walk right, left. With the balance can go everywhere. But it can also improve, and then can start to run and jump and do all kinds of things. The same is with elements in us. First, balance. We need to have all the elements. We need to have all the qualities of all the elements. Because we have this potential, why not to have those qualities? If you miss a quality in life, it's like you're missing a tool. So you cannot do certain things. And even those things that you are good in, if you have balanced all the elements, you will be even better in those things. Even if these things is only like stimulating one element, let's say like this. You can be a master of one element, but if you balance all the elements, then you really can improve. I mean, then you can be really a master of this element. So that's why I'm saying that this is not just the ABC, but also PhD of life and spirituality. And I believe that this lost advanced civilization came to this conclusion and developed concepts. They put the 5 elements in time, astrology, in space, Vastu or Feng Shui, in human body, chakras, in symbolism, numerology, In nature, gods, you know that the first gods, this video was very controversial when I put, but the first gods in every culture were gods of nature. And among them, in most cultures, were the gods of the five elements. Because they behave like, those elements behave like gods. Even in Kabbalah, which is a Jewish tradition, the word for a god, it's Yahweh, and it's written with 4 letters. And I read in one Kabbalah book, and actually in other books as well, that these letters represent the 4 elements. So I believe that an advanced civilization gave this, gave to us, to themselves, and later to us, this concept, this knowledge, this wisdom of nature, that everything, it's about the 5 elements. And this is the base and the final wisdom. Because from each element, you can extract some really, really significant wisdom to improve your life. So first thing is balance. How you will balance? This is the question, probably. Sorry, I didn't mention, but in the end of this presentation, very soon, I hope, you can ask me questions, you can write down, and then I will answer to some of those questions. Yeah. So, what I was saying, now I lost my, now I go into neutral mode to wait that something is coming. Balance. Luckily, I have Natalie. So the first thing is balance. So how, somebody might ask, how we will balance those 5 elements? Well, this is actually very simple. Not easy, but very simple. Because each element, I like to use this language, each element likes to do certain things. And by doing those things that this element likes, you actually giving food to this element. So every element likes to think in a certain way, likes to talk in a certain way or talk about certain topic. It likes to feel in a certain way, and it likes to do certain things. Every element different. For example, fire and water are completely different. They are the opposite. So what fire likes, water doesn't like. What water like, fire doesn't like. This is why I say it's not easy. This is why we struggle in life sometimes. The same is with earth and air, completely opposite. So to balance the elements, you need to balance by doing what they like to do. But the problem will be that if you have a weak element, you will not like to do what this element likes to do. So you need to learn to like it. Otherwise, you will lose energy. If you force yourself to do something that you don't like, you lose energy. You don't want that. You need to learn how to like it, and you can, because you have this potential. It is just a program. It is a program, and I can teach you how to do that. In the same way, if you have a super strong element, what you need to do is to reduce this element by not doing the things that this element likes to do. And this is also a problem, because we identified with this element. Oh, this is who am I? This is what I like. But this is actually the problem, because if you believe in that, you will not change. So you should stop to do some things that you like if this element is too powerful, if it's stronger, much stronger than the other, if it's a disbalance. So the first thing is to balance. Okay, the question, how I'm going to learn what each element likes to do, or think and feel and do and talk. Well, this I cannot say in a few minutes, but I have a program. I can answer to your questions, but I have a program, 5 days, that I create for you for this purpose. It is what I'm talking on the retreats where I have here every week. And I will have more retreats, not just this yoga and adventure that we are doing now. I will have other kind of retreats. But on every retreat, I will share this wisdom of the 5 elements. I will share how you can balance. I will share. So I talk every day about some characteristics of one element. And this I'm talking on the online program too. It's a 5-day online program. So 1 day for each element. It's a half an hour of me talking about the characteristics of one element so that you can learn and repeat, because you will not remember everything. And then you will know what are the characteristics, what those elements likes to do. And this is how you can work to do those things. So I'm really encouraging you to take this course. You can find the link below this, in this about this video below. So by balancing yourself, by doing those things, by balancing yourself, you will have a good foundation for everything in life. But the next thing is how you can improve your life. But before I tell you this, I want to come back to my story. You see, sometimes I forgot. So when I received this wisdom of the 5 elements, even though I was already 10 years, I think, or more into spirituality, and with all this transformational experience, with all the knowledge, even though when I received this wisdom of the 5 elements and when I saw my life through this new perspective, I realized that I was completely in disbalance. I have super strong 2 elements, super weak 2 elements, and one was like this, sometimes strong, sometimes weak. And I'm sharing all this, my stories with the elements and everything. I'm sharing all my stories on the retreats when I have time, when I talk to people. So I would like that you join us someday. And plus, I'm talking about, of course, about the characteristics of the 5 elements. And also I'm giving some useful, practical tools that can help you to balance those elements. So not just doing what those elements likes to do, but like in every tradition, mystics created a lot of kind of techniques and methods to balance those elements, to improve your life, whether they were aware of the elements or not, but every technique, it's working on at least one element. Some technique works on all the elements, some technique specifically on one element. For example, in this course, I have 5 different meditations, one for each element. And I also developed a 5 movements sequence, physical movements. So that I give in this course. So if you take this course, you will not only learn about the 5 elements, but also learn 2 practical methods, one for the mind and one for the body. And of course, this 5 days course has a price. I believe it's not big, but it will increase, of course, it will increase the price. But for now, like for people who are watching this live, I will not, in the next few days for sure, I will not increase. So this is one more, like, how to say, to give you some motivation to do it. I need to give you some motivation to do it, because we need motivations to do things in life. So balance is the first thing. And the second thing is to improve those elements. Because when I realized that I was in disbalance, I start to do it. And I need a lot of motivation, which I didn't have from anyone, because I received those input by myself. And it took me a while to figure out how to do it. But once I start to balance those elements, my elements, I really I experienced improvement on the things that I was thinking that it's my karma. I was thinking, okay, I'm not satisfied with everything in my life, because but this is my karma, nobody is. So I had few things that I was really not satisfied. But when I improved the balance of those elements, my life improved on every level, and also on those two levels that I was not satisfied. And then I learned how to use it, how to extract the wisdom of those elements to improve life even better, to reach other things. For me, it would never be even possible to do this, what I'm doing today, if I didn't do it inside first. So this is shortly what I will talk about now, just for a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then we're gonna go on the questions. So every element has a certain wisdom. And I think you probably watched my videos on social media shortly. But I will now tell a few more things about it. So the wisdom of the fire element is to speak carefully. Because fire is dangerous and words belong to fire. Because when you talk, you're in the center of the attention, and fire is in the center of the attention, because fire is a source of light. So words can be dangerous like fire. So this is why we need to have some kind of filter before we saying something. In my village, we say that it needs to pass through 5 doors before it is spoken. It needs to be true. It needs to be honest. What is different? Because the true has many layers. You can say that you've been, like I always use this example, you've been in the town walking, but you've been with someone, but you don't say it, and your partner is asking you, you didn't say what is relevant, so you were not honest. Honesty. Kindness is the door. You need to use kindness, otherwise people can get easily triggered or offended. And if you are honest, it doesn't mean that you need to say it. So the fourth door is the door of necessity. You need to say only, you say only if it's necessary. Because some things are not necessary. If they are true and if you are honest and kind, they still can trigger someone or offend someone. So maybe they are not necessary. And this also includes the quantity of the words, because not just the quality, but also how much you talk. If you talk more than enough, if you don't give a space to other people to interrupt you, then you create aggression, because these people needs to listen to you and force themselves to listen. So I'm talking now for 1 hour and 20 minutes, but it's easy. You can, okay, it's alive, but you know, you have the possibility to rewatch it because it will be recorded. And if you want to miss, if you cannot listen, if you're tired, you just go. I will not be offended. I don't even know. But you cannot do this when you talk to a friend. You cannot talk even 1 minute because you will see this person wants also to say something. It means it wants to interrupt you. So if you are so good in talk so that you don't lose your microphone, this is a kind of aggression. So you need to be able to give to people possibility to take the microphone. And this you give with silence. Not saying, you know what, yeah, because you don't want to lose the microphone. So I will talk more, I will explain more about this when I will talk about that. Because it's much more complicated than it sounds. And the fifth door is the door of timing. Maybe it's even necessary that this person hear this, especially when it's about critics. But maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you are not even the right person to tell to this person these things. So how you will know if it's necessary and if it's the right time? For that, you need to develop an intuition. Another topic. The wisdom for the water element is feel love. This I already talked today. You need to be able to create those feelings. You don't search for love outside. You don't search for the things that will trigger your feeling of love. No, create this feeling of love, at least joy. Because you are able to do that. You just need to train. How? Another topic. There is actually one powerful technique in yoga that is doing that, one ancient method. The wisdom of the air element is think wisely. You see, fire for words, water for feelings, air for thoughts. So think wisely. What means to think wisely? First of all, First of all, that means that you are aware that you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You only believe, and you're creating this reality according to your beliefs, but you don't know anything. Being aware of this, it's already a step towards wisdom. And there are other things to be aware that most of the thoughts are programs that are reacting on the environment. You also need to be aware that you have the intelligence, not only the programs, but you have the intelligence, but this intelligence is very limited. It's according to your information and your experience, which are very limited and can be completely different from another person. And you need to be aware that you have intuition. So again, we come to the same. You need to develop intuition. More you develop intuition, better choices you can make in your life. Because, I can say this, because the intuition is an information from the space where there is no time. So more you establish the connection with this fifth element space, you will get more intuition. The wisdom of the earth element is very simple, like the earth element, is do what you need to do, or do what you should do. There are many things you know. I'm not the one who will tell you, you know what you need or what you should do. Many people say, I should do this, I should do that. So do it. Earth element, it's very practical. It will do what is necessary to be done. So when you do something that you should do, and if you learn to enjoy in everything, water element, to feel love or joy, then you do those things with enjoyment. So there is nothing that you don't like. So you like everything, and you do what is necessary to be done. It is very, very easy to say, do what you like to do in life, and you will be happy. Oh, really? Many people cannot do what they would like to do. Sometimes you will not be able to do what you would like to do. If this is a wisdom, do what you like to do. If this is a wisdom, then everybody on this planet will be very wise and very happy in life. But they are not. Because the wisdom is not do what you like to do. It's do what you need to do, but learn how to like it. Do it with love. This is actually the first wisdom, the first quote that I read in the first time when I went to India, in the first book that I took. I read this quote. Happiness is not doing what you like to do, but learning to love things that you need to do. And in that time, I didn't understand this. I closed the book. I didn't read this book. This is why I don't even know what's the name of the book. 10 years later, I start to understand this wisdom. Because if I have a weak element, and I had 2 elements were very weak, I needed to do those things that those element likes. And these were the things that I don't like. So the wisdom is to do the things that you need to do, that you should do, to balance yourself, to improve yourself, whatever. There are things that you should do. So just do it and learn to enjoy. I would say the biggest wisdom that I came across. If you are very down in your life, if very bad, you did so much things that you didn't like, you have a life that is not easy, frustrating, or something like that, and you lose your energy, because when you do something that you don't like, you will lose energy. So if you are down with energy, then yes, then you should do what you like first to recover, because you have something that you like. Find those things, do it until you recover with energy. But this will not lift the life on a next level. This will only recover you, that you have enough energy to do the things that you need to do, that will lift you on the next level. These are my experience. It's working. It's working. And the wisdom of the 5th element spirit is be consciously connected. With what? With everything. Because you are connected with everything. This is the element spirit, the space. You are the eternal life. And you are connected with everything, because this space, it's everywhere. It's inside everything. You cannot disconnect 2 things. There will be always space in between. And so everything is connected. This space is not empty. In physics, it's called quantum field. It's something. It's a. You can call it energy. You can call it space. You can call it universe. You can call it. We call it the Great Spirit, the Spirit. So we are connected with everything. We are everything. But you can be consciously connected with everything. And when you are consciously connected with everything, then this life starts to be magical, because there is a lot of benefit that comes from that, which I will talk about it maybe on the next masterclass session. But one of the benefits for sure is that you will gain more intuition. So when you are consciously connected with everything, with the eternal life in whichever form, this is spirituality. This is the fifth element, spirit, the spirituality. When you are connected with God, when you are connected with universe, when you connect with your soul, with your spirit, you actually are connecting consciously yourself with the eternal life. So, and this connection with the eternal life is giving you benefits, and one of them is intuition. Which will be very important for all the elements, and the wisdom for the other elements, to choose what is the best for you. To when you need to run, when you need to take control of the airplane and switch off the autopilot, you will have intelligence, but you will rely on your intuition. But you need to make it strong. It's not something you have or not. It's something that you can build to be more stronger. I can dedicate 2 hours only to intuition. It's a huge topic, and it's so misunderstood. Intuition can be manifested through thought, word, feelings, deeds, and external intuition, through 5 things. But how you will know if it's intuition or a program? Because it doesn't mean if you feel something, oh no, I feel something bad. It's a feeling. It could be intuition, but it could be a program from the past experience, bad experience in the past, that you are not consciously aware. I have many examples of that. So how do you know? Well, it's very hard to distinguish program from intuition, or a thought can be intuition, or a movement can be intuition, or a word can be intuition. Most of the words today were from intuition. Some of the words, actually most, I need to say most were from programs, because I talk about these 5 elements for 15 years already. So most, I built so many programs already. So most it's running on autopilot. But I also give space, silence to intuition to choose which kind of information about the 5 elements I will talk. So I can say that a lot of words that came out are from intuition. And the programs are good. So how do you know if it's a program, if it's intuition? It is very hard to distinguish this. But what you can do is not try to figure out this, but what you can do is to work on cleaning your mind from bugs and viruses, to reduce the program running automatically by practicing meditation, mantra, or some other techniques, or mindfulness, or being in silence. So clean your mind from programs, and practice to be consciously connected with eternal life in whichever form. And this connection will give you more intuition. These things you can do. And I can teach you how. I think I can finish with this. It's 1 hour and a half. I will make more of these live meetings, which I call Masterclass, because you really can become a master of your life if you master your thoughts, words, feelings, and deeds. And I will have more of this session, and I will send in the email. Always we will send when there will be a next one. So make sure you don't miss this, because some emails can, especially because I have now a long list, so some email may end up in the social promotional folder spam. So mark this email with a star or something, so that the next one doesn't, that you don't lose this information, where it will be next live session if you want to be part of it. And one day I will also start the 5 months program, in which we will dedicate 1 month to one element and to one of this wisdom. And we will work on this to reprogram, because to reprogram ourselves, we need time and repetition and in motivation. We need a program and discipline. So 5 months is not actually long. You know how much usually masters spend with their teachers? 12 years. Many of them. About 12 years. Because this is the time you need to process and to reprogram yourself. Not just to experience some, like mystical experiences. You can take ayahuasca and you experience a mystical experience. Or some other things. It's not just about learning the knowledge as well. Like you can learn in 1 year, you can learn everything, even shorter. It's about processing this knowledge, processing those experiences, reprogramming yourself. And for that needs time. So I already did this 5 months program 2 times with the groups. And soon I will start a new one. So also I will send you a notification for that. And I hope you will join me. I hope to see you soon on the next masterclass session. And until then, may the spirits of nature be with you. Om Namah Shivaya.